What's up, everyone? I hope you are doing well today. This is Raphael Garcia here for Let's Talk Wrestling episode number 37, I believe. Let me check. I should have looked at that before I started today. So that kind of shows you what I've been doing all day. But today is Survivor Series weekend, and I want to do a recap of that show, maybe talk a little bit about what we saw over on NXT TakeOver on Saturday. But as always, thank you for taking the time to listen to our content today. I appreciate you either listening to the show when we first dropped it or days later. Either way, thank you for listening. Also, please be sure to like and share everything that we talk about here. And you can catch us on Instagram. You can catch us over there on Twitter as well at MMA Ratings Net. You can catch us over at YouTube on the MMA Ratings channel there, where you can listen to this show weekly and also the weekly MMA Ratings podcast, which airs on Thursday. But we will not have one this weekend, obviously, because this is Thanksgiving weekend. So this is episode 38 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, and we're here to talk about Survivor Series mostly. We'll go a little bit into NXT TakeOver as well because that happened this past weekend. So let's start with some of the results and just kind of I'm going to jump in and out of some of the more meaningful matches from tonight. To be honest, I didn't think everything about this show was great. Um, I it had definitely had some high spots. It has some low spots as well. It has some things that I didn't really enjoy, and I'm going to kind of touch on those. Let me see where was this game? This was War Games. That was this past weekend. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I did not enjoy, but we're going to talk mostly about what was good from SmackDown this weekend. So let's go ahead and start there. And we had how many matches did we have today? We had 10 matches today. At some points it felt longer than others. But let's see. The pre-show had three matches. They had Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode winning the I guess the tag team the 10 team the I can't even say this the 10 team tag team battle royal. And this is important because this was the only match that Raw won today. Uh, NXT won 4, SmackDown won 2, Raw won 1, and this really shows you kind of where what the pecking order is right now. I think that this also occurred because we're in a state where NXT has head-to-head competition with AEW, and there is a concerted effort to elevate AEW to get them to a place where they are defeating NXT. So far, AEW has been running the show with uh, mainly cracking anywhere from 800 to a million viewers, while NXT has been sitting in the 700 range, except for last weekend, which was the first weekend that NXT won, I think by a couple of thousand. So obviously that was the reason why NXT got such a big push this week on this pay-per-view, winning four of the matches, and we're gonna go through some of those. But as I mentioned, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode won the 10-man battle royal. The match took 8 minutes and 20 seconds. There wasn't really anything else to really kind of take from this. Leo Rush, he defended the NXT Cruiserweight title, defeating Akira Tozawa and Kalisto. This was a good match. They only had 8 minutes, but they did what they could within that time there. I'm a Leo Rush guy. At first, I wasn't. It took me a little while to get used to him, but I am liking what I'm seeing from him right now. I'm a fan of his, and I think that he has some good potential here. And it's funny because we talked about the issues that were going on with Jordan Miles, ACH, and someone I will not name used that to talk negatively about Leo Rush as well, which I thought was in poor taste. But Leo Rush's time away from WWE TV and seeing him coming back and thriving, I'm a big fan of that. So I'm glad he got the win here. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him next. He still has that feud going on with Angel Garza. And I am not fully sold on Garza right now, but a lot of people tend to be entertained by him, so I'll keep an eye out on that feud on Wednesdays. Then we had the Viking Raiders who defeated the New Day and the Undisputed Era. Now I was pretty surprised by this because when they put the tag team titles on the New Day on I think 2 Fridays ago on SmackDown, I personally believe they did that just to keep everybody keep the Viking Raiders and Undisputed Era looking strong in this match because I thought that Kofi Kingston mainly was going to take the pin here, but that was not the case because the Viking Raiders pinned, I think it was Roderick Strong, and that caught me off guard because Undisputed Era was looking strong. They hold all the NXT titles. They had a great match at Takeover, so I was surprised to see them get beat twice. And actually, it's interesting because they all four guys had matches today, two lost, two won. So I'm surprised to see them lose. And I thought that they were going to have the New Day take the loss because it doesn't really hurt them so much. Obviously, they're always over with the fans. They're seven-time tag team champions. And even though they don't talk too much about Kofi Kingston's title reign, they mentioned it twice tonight, which is rare for WWE. This team is always going to be over, and they're going to be even more over when Xavier Woods comes back. But this was a great match. This was a lot of fun. It was hard hitting. It showcased a lot of what these guys can do, all six of them. And there was nothing wrong for me watching this match. This match had me interested from start to finish. It was one of the only ones that really had me interested from start to finish, but I enjoyed everything that they had to offer here. I am a tiny bit concerned because the tag team division it it ebbs and flows. It never looks like it's important, and all of the main tag team matches were on the pre-show this week. The Battle Royal and then this tag team triple threat. So what will happen with those divisions going forward? On NXT, it's legit, but Raw and SmackDown, it doesn't necessarily look like it's ever prominent. And hopefully, the Usos and some other teams can come back. I hope the Revival resign. I think their contract is coming up in the next month, which is what I've heard or read somewhere. So hopefully that team sticks around too as well. Because if you did not see it, go back and watch the Undisputed Era versus the Revival on Wednesday of this past week. Easily a candidate for match of the year, easily tag team match of the year, but it's even a candidate for overall match of the year. So it was just excellent from start to finish. I need to go rewatch it again too. That's how excited that match got me. The next match out, this was the opener, was the women's Survivor Series match, and they got the Vikings. The tag team triple threat got 14 minutes and 35 seconds. So the NXT won, and they defeated Team Raw and Team SmackDown. Let's go over some of the members. So NXT was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, and Toni Storm. Team Raw was Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Sarah Logan. Team SmackDown was Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross. So I'm gonna talk about what I didn't like about this match first, and then I'm gonna dive into everything I did love. Sarah Logan is horrible, flat out said it. She's horrible. She's not good. And I don't know if that's because this is one of the bigger moments she's had since she's been brought up to the main roster, but she is just not good. Period. Dana Brooke has gotten a lot better in her time, but she just doesn't get the opportunity to show who her character really is. Her and Sarah Logan have been working a lot together on was it Main Event, but I wish neither one of them were part of this match. Lacey Evans, I'm not a fan of Lacey Evans at all. I've made that clear. Everyone loves her look. Everyone loves her character. I'm just not a fan of hers, but she has some moments during this match as well too, even though she has some bad moments as well. Another thing I didn't like, Nikki Cross. I'm a fan of hers. She is over with the fans as well. I've wished she would have gotten more of a prominent spotlight in Sanity. I've actually wrote a piece a while back about why she should have been the leader of Sanity on the main roster to kind of change things up. But she kind of felt out of place and she didn't get enough time to shine. I wish she would have got more time in this match. I don't even remember when she got put out. But let's talk about what I did like. Team NXT looked really strong. And I hated that gimmick that they did, the injury gimmick that got Candice and Io out of the ring, got them out of the match together. I don't understand why they needed to do that. And if they did that and Io and Candice came back because they were never really eliminated, why are we talking about Rhea Ripley like she was the sole survivor? Because she wasn't. But Candice and Io, they didn't have to do that injury gimmick to go away and come back, but it is what it is. Io and I want to see like a 30-minute match between Io and Kairi Sane. They got some time together in the ring. Even Dana Brooke kind of like stepped back and let them have their shine. The crowd wanted to see it. Everyone wanted to see it. Like I could watch that bit of that match over and over again. And I wish that and I hope that sometime in the future we get to see these two ladies pair off again and do something special. Let's see. Toni Storm. I thought that they were going to do more with Toni here. She had some moments. Her German suplex looks so fantastic. I love it. I mean, everything about her look is fantastic. They pulled her off of a progress card tonight to be on the show here, but I don't think they really did a lot with her. She actually was submitted. I don't know if she put anyone out. I can't really remember. I should have wrote down the elimination orders, but I didn't do that. Let me see if they have it in here. Actually, they do. Aha. Toni Storm did not have any eliminations today. So Bianca Belair, man, she had two. She eliminated Nikki Cross and Sarah Logan. Bianca Belair is like, I was not sold on her when she first came around, but she's the shit. I love seeing her do her thing. She exudes so much attitude, and she exudes her character so well. She reminds me of a colleague, actually, someone who reports to me. There's so much from top to bottom, and I hope to see what they do more with her. They got to put that title on her at some point. I would like to see a NXT feud with her and Rhea, but I doubt that was going to happen. I think Rhea is going to get elevated to something more. She's definitely was the breakout star of the weekend, pinning Shayna Baszler on Saturday and then getting the win here. So let's see. Carmella was eliminated by Charlotte Flair. Kairi Sane was eliminated by Sasha Banks. Dana Brooke was eliminated by Asuka. Then this was an interesting moment because Asuka and Charlotte Flair got into it, and Asuka spits the green mist in Charlotte Flair's eyes and leaves ringside. So she was never actually technically pinned either. So I love the way that they continuously book Asuka very strongly, and they protect her. And I like that this has some continuity here because remember, Charlotte Flair is the one that ended Asuka's undefeated streak. She's also the one that took the SmackDown title off of her last year, keeping her out of that WrestleMania main event. So there's that moment as well too. But I like that they kept some continuity there. Charlotte Flair, she has that perfect character for her. And I would like to see something with her and Asuka in the future. Let's see where that really goes. Lacey Evans was out next. She got eliminated by Natalya. Then Toni Storm was put out by the combination submission between Natalya and Sasha Banks. And I think that was good for her because it kept her looking strong. She just didn't go out easily on her back. Then let's see, Bianca Belair is put out by Sasha Banks, and then Sasha doing Sasha shit. She makes Natalya think that they're going to work together to beat Rhea Ripley, but she fucking lamb blasts her with that forearm again, pins her 1, 2, 3, gets her out of there. And then we have Rhea Ripley who's left, and she defeats Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks eliminated the most number of people with 3. Bianca Belair was second with 2, and her and Natalya had 2 as well. Sasha Banks technically eliminated 4, so like there's that. So yeah, Candice, Io, and Rhea Ripley were the main survivors from that. But as I said, Rhea has had the biggest weekend out of anybody. And I think that she's going to be a huge star. They have to figure out a way to get her into the title picture against Becky. I think that they keep the title on Becky to WrestleMania, then have Rhea win the Royal Rumble, get it done that way. The fans were so hyped for Rhea because after Saturday, the fans were hyped for her, but she's over. She's over. She has a look. She has a moveset. She just looks like she will beat somebody's ass. And women are behind her. Men are behind her. It's fantastic. It's funny. I saw a picture today of her, like a before and after picture of what her original gimmick was. She looked just like another Charlotte. Long hair, blonde hair, tall, perky breasts. And they've done away with all of that. Now she just looks like she just will just beat the living shit out of you if you look at her cross-eyed. So I'm a fan of hers. I'm glad she apologized for that F-bomb that she dropped on uh was a YouTube a while back, and not the four-letter F-bomb, the other one. So yeah, so she had the biggest moment of the weekend, and I think that we watched a star get made if you saw Takeover and you watched Survivor Series this week. Then you have Roderick Strong defeating AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was a great match. That they went 16 minutes 45 seconds. What I like the most about this is that Roderick Strong won in the way that fits his character perfectly. He's the heel that is a dork that doesn't necessarily relate. That doesn't he acts in a way that he doesn't even know he is a dork, and I love it because he's brought into that heel character so much. And I really didn't like him at first when hell, I didn't like him as a face, but he is a character's character as a heel, as a part of an Undisputed Era, and we really saw that on Sunday. This is the match that you can go back and watch as well too, because it was pretty enjoyable. We know, I mean, look at this: Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura. You could easily say that these are the three best wrestlers that they have on the roster, and they delivered from start to finish. This was a great match. Adam Cole and Pete Dunne. Um, if Rhea Ripley didn't have the breakout weekend, then Adam Cole is the one who had it because he had the big moment up at Takeover on Saturday where he ate that. I can't remember what the air raid crash through two tables with Tommaso Ciampa, even though he lost. He had that moment, and then he had a pretty solid match here with Pete Dunne. This was definitely an NXT style match with these two guys fighting for the NXT Championship. I loved the super kick out of the moonsault. He does that so well. He did it against what was his name, Ricochet, and he looked like he killed Ricochet. And then you had this as well. I really thought, I wonder what they're going to do with him because he has a broken wrist. He's been performing with a broken wrist for the last few weeks. And I really thought that they were going to take the title off of him today to give him a little bit of time to rest. But he shouldn't be doing anything for the rest of the month, the rest of the year, because this man has been on fire for the last month or so, and he needs some time off because there's no way on hell after today's match, and he's doing both with the broken wrist that he should just be getting thrown out there again. But Adam Cole defeated Pete Dunne in 14 minutes and 10 seconds. Then we have the Fiend Bray Wyatt against Daniel Bryan. The Fiend got the win here. Daniel Bryan did a good job of getting some heat on Bray, getting some chance. He had the yes chance going. The crowd was popped for it huge. I am wondering how on earth we live in a world where WWE has made the Fiend unenjoyable. I don't know what it is, but I am not as excited for this character or to see Bray Wyatt on screen as I was 4 months ago, 5 months ago. It's just not enjoyable at all. He doesn't seem like that same type of guy. He seems like a knockoff. It seems like he's been bastardized, for lack of a better term. That's pretty much probably what has happened with this character. Just that it hasn't been as fun for me. I actually kind of want to see more of the Mr. Rogers-esque Bray Wyatt character. I think he's coming out on TV tomorrow. I think they talked about that. Seth Rollins will be bringing him out. Or no, excuse me, on Friday. I think he's supposed to be actual Bray Wyatt in the ring. I don't think we've seen the Mr. Rogers version of Bray in front of the camera again, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. Then we had SmackDown defeating Team NXT and Team Raw. Let's talk about that. And another thing of note, both of in the two Survivor Series matches, both times Raw was eliminated first. So let's see. In this match, let's talk about the people we had first. So for SmackDown, we had Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, Mustafa Ali, and Shorty G. For Raw, we had Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. For NXT, we had Tommaso Ciampa, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Walter. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about before this. So Kevin Owens, if you did not see it somehow, he joined NXT last night. Well, I don't want to say he joined NXT. He joined Tommaso Ciampa's team last night as the mystery fourth team member to defeat the Undisputed Era, and people went nuts, and they thought that that meant that he was coming back to NXT. Then before this match, they had Seth Rollins kind of confront Kevin Owens, asking him what is his motive, what is he trying to do, and they played that up just to completely no sell it during this match. Now I think it's going to lead to a program between Seth and Kevin, which I'm totally here for because we know that they're going to deliver, especially in the ring. But I would have loved had Kevin Owens turned on both team on Team Raw today and joined Team NXT and went to that show, went to that brand full time now. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to take that step the same way Finn Balor did. But this was awesome, and I loved seeing that there. But I wish he could have completed the story by turning on Team Raw today and joining Team NXT. That would have been a lot of story development there, and it would have created a space that they could have continued the NXT, or they could have continued the Seth Rollins feud with the Seth Rollins feud with Brett, not, excuse me, I can't talk. They could have continued the Seth Rollins feud with Kevin by moving and having them go back and forth a little bit between Raw and SmackDown, or excuse me, Raw and NXT. Let's see what happens with that because I think this is going to lead to something between them two on at least Raw. But the elimination order for this match was Walter. Walter was out first, and he was out very quick. The crowd was chanting for him. They were chanting for him the minute he stepped out onto the stage as part of the team. His chops were getting over. But yeah, he was eliminated rather quickly by Drew McIntyre. Shorty G was out next, being eliminated by Kevin Owens. And then Kevin Owens got put out by Tommaso Ciampa. So that was at that point, I'm like, I didn't care about this booking at all. But then, look, this booking was pretty much pathetic up to this point. So then Damian Priest gets hit with an RKO and he's out. And then Randy Orton gets rolled up by Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle really didn't get any offense out. So then Randy Orton's out. Then Randy turns around and RKO's Matt Riddle, who Corbin just walks in and pins him. So between that right there, it was just not enjoyable in any way, shape, or form. I'm like, what the hell was any of that? Because all of those guys looked so much weaker coming off of the way they were booked out of the match. Then Braun Strowman was counted out because he ate a Claymore from Drew McIntyre, so he was out. Then Ricochet takes a nasty end of days. I mean, he just sells like nobody's business. But he got put out by Corbin. Mustafa Ali got put out by Seth Rollins just because over some more foolishness. It just these guys are just booked so piss poor. Then Drew McIntyre gets put out by Roman Reigns. Corbin gets put out by Tommaso Ciampa. Then we have Tommaso Ciampa getting put out by Seth Rollins. So we have Seth Rollins, Keith Lee, and Roman Reigns as your last three. And Keith Lee eliminates Seth Rollins, which was huge to me. Huge. So that right there shows me that they have faith in Keith Lee being something big. And I don't use that as a pun, which is pretty interesting to me because I was familiar with Keith Lee on the independent scene before he moved over to WWE. When he moved over, I was like, there's no way they're ever letting this guy out of NXT. He's huge. He's black, and you know how we talk about WWE continues to struggle with black stars, and we know that that's going to be, it is what it is. But he's grown on me lately. And seeing him getting this shine and this match here lets me know that he's kind of growing on the WWE leadership as well too, because that spot just wasn't for anyone. I mean, he pushed Roman Reigns to the limit here, gets pinned at the 29-25 mark. He's hit big power bombs. He power bombed the shit out of Drew McIntyre on NXT on Wednesday. He's been getting some shine here, and he had a pretty big moment with Braun Strowman as well too, both on was that Friday last week or Monday, one of the two. but he had a big moment with Braun Strowman that kind of continued through this match here. So it's clear that they have that there's more faith in Keith Lee than I was willing to give the WWE credit for. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with seeing more wrestlers of color getting some spotlight here. So Roman Reigns gets the pin. He is the sole survivor in that match. That one went 29 minutes and 25 seconds. Then we have Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman defeating Rey Mysterio. Dominic came out and they got some spots together. Dominic hit he hit a frog splash. Ray hit a frog splash, and they both pinned him at the same time, trying to hold him down. But Brock kicked out. Then Brock catches Dominic. He eats a German suplex, and then Ray tries to jump off the top. He gets caught and gets F5. 7 minutes is over. I was okay with that. This was actually a pretty fun match. You got Rey Mysterio running around with a baseball bat trying to take out Lesnar's knees, and Brock does a good job with these type of matches, man, where he's a bigger man and he isn't supposed to lose, but he sells for people. Am I a Brock Lesnar guy? Let me think about that. Definitely something. He's definitely turning around some attention from me, and I'm liking what I've been seeing from him. But I don't know what they're going to do next. I wish that they had that title on TV more often. They clearly don't. I just wish that they got that belt off of him and put it on somebody that could be on the show every single week. Like, maybe Kofi Kingston, somebody else, whatever. We'll figure that out when we get there. Then we have Shayna Baszler defeating Becky Lynch and Bayley in the women's triple threat. Now, this match went 18 minutes and 10 seconds, and the biggest mistake WWE could have made was after this match when they send out a tweet to Shayna Baszler saying, "Hey, just remember, you didn't defeat the man." So what happened was Becky. Goodness, these names are killing me tonight. Becky tapped out to the Kirifuda clutch, which is basically a rear naked choke, and Shayna got the win. So while she was celebrating, Becky Lynch attacked her, puts her through a table, and is ending the match with her posing, holding the title up. So what they did was effectively bury both Bayley and Shayna Baszler at the same damn time. So that match right there was fantastic. It was great seeing Shayna get over, but yeah, they screwed them over and buried both of them at the same time. I really thought that Bayley was going to win this match, and I wonder if they did some shifting last minute too as well, because I really thought that this match was going to go to Bayley to get the win there, and because the way that they were kind of booking her as an afterthought leading up to this match, and the way that she was the one doing a lot of damage on other shows, I really just thought that she was going to get some shine here, but I guess not. I hope she does. I hope she does. She's uh, she's my third favorite out of the four horse women, but I think she's come along, and I hope that her heel turns persona fully plays out. So that is the recap of what happened on SmackDown. If I had to rate the show, I would give it a B, B minus, B solid B minus. It has some points that I enjoyed, some points I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy all of the women's NXT match. There were, all the women's tag team match. Again, it's a 5-on-5 tag match. It just didn't, at the beginning, it didn't flow well. Sarah Logan not being good stood out to me. Dana Brooke improving, but still not good enough for this spot stood out to me. They could have went in some other ways. I mean, well, when you look at the roster now and think about it, Naomi's hurt. I believe she's hurt. And other woman just got hurt as well, too. I can see her face. I can't think of her name. Goodness. Ember Moon. She's also out injured as well too, and she was talking about that on that studio show that they do on Tuesdays or whatever day that is, Wednesdays, whatever. Who cares? I don't. But that match didn't really, the women's 5-on-5 didn't really stand out to me. I'm just over the Fiend. I'm not going to say I'm 110% over him yet, but they need to do something to recover from that program with Seth Rollins. They just need to do something to recover from that, and hopefully they do. Let's see. But if I had to rate this show, I would give it a solid B. And they had some good matches. They had great matches. I mean, these people deliver, especially the NXT crew. We know they're going to deliver, and there were still some entertaining points as well too. I just don't. There were some aspects, obviously, with just mainly that women's match that I wasn't too much of a fan of. So I wanted to take a quick second to hop into NXT Takeover as well too, because that was Saturday, where we had Angel Garza defeat Isaac Swerve Scott. I love Swerve's theme music too as well. I need to kind of find that somewhere. Rhea Ripley's team also won the War Games match, and I'm gonna come back to that in a second. Pete Dunne defeated Damian Priest and Killian Dane to get that title shot, and then Finn Balor defeated Matt Riddle. Then the men's War Games match, Team Ciampa won when Ciampa damn near committed attempted murder on Adam Cole by putting him through that table. The big moment though was Dakota Kai in that heel turn. She was taking Mia Yim's spot. Mia Yim was supposed to be on this team already, and Dakota Kai took her spot, and it seemed like an innocent situation, but in turn, as she's walking out the cage, we get a fantastic heel turn where she just beats the living shit out of Tegan Knox. When she's smashing her leg into the cage, we know it's fake, you know it's scripted, but that was still just something else to see. She kept smashing the cage against her leg over and over and over again. So that was fantastic. That right there is probably my moment of the weekend. Probably. Great moment there. Followed by Kairi Sane and Io Shirai standing in the ring together, facing off and getting some reps. As I said when I was sitting watching it, I would love to see those two women get more time and be able to tear it up. So let's see. I think that's really it. NXT Takeover. If I had to grade them, I would give them an A for what they did last night. It was a great show from start to finish. So Survivor Series had its moments. My match of the night will go to hmm, probably Adam Cole Pete Dunne match. That's my match of the night right now. So let's see. I talked about those two pay-per-views, and it was a pretty big weekend for wrestling. There's always a continuously good week. The Jim Cornette situation. I mean, he did what he did. Why are we surprised? Nope. I don't think he resigned. I think he probably quit because he was so mad. But he's out of a position. I wrote a piece this week for Daily DDT where I'm talking about there's more of a need for us to stamp out those voices, not just minimize them, because in pro wrestling it's really interesting because there's platforms like Jim Ross. He has his own podcast that he does weekly that gets, I'm sure, at least a couple of hundred clicks, listens every time. But he's out here being an outright bigot because he's said some things that have audio files that have been going around the internet that you could easily find of him saying foolish stuff. So there's that. But he is out, and the biggest thing about that, I wrote about this, and again, is that the fact that at some point, with the way NWA is done, is that they tape in blocks. So they tape for about a month at a time. Someone saw or heard that clip during editing and they let it ride. You can't see me, but I'm sitting here shrugging at the idea that, hey, someone heard that and they let it ride. So, it is what it is. That really kind of lets you know how NWA is running themselves, and situations like this make me not want to watch that platform. Let's see what they do going forward, but situations like this make me not want to like that platform. What else did I want to talk about? from this week. That's really it. SmackDown and TakeOver were both solid shows. I would give TakeOver an A, uh, and then Survivor Series I would give them. What should I give them? Probably a B. Probably a B. There isn't a whole thing I did. There isn't a lot I did not like from this show, but it was enjoyable from start to finish. I enjoyed watching it the whole time. It was a good event. So with that in mind, as always, please be sure to like and share our content again, as I just asked. When you're listening, wherever you're listening to this podcast, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, whatever you need to do, but help us get our content out there. I thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about Survivor Series, and just be warned or aware. But we're continuously trying to change these podcasts and add to them. I have some plans that I'm working on for 2020. Now, hopefully, will come to fruition to make this a better show and our MMA ratings podcast better as well too. So with that in mind, my name is Raphael Garcia as always. You can catch me at R Garcia underscore sports on Twitter, where I am talking professional wrestling, rambling about sports, political justice, social justice, and other matters of the like. Please be sure to like at MMA Ratings Net to catch all of our content that we put up there every um every week, and you can go to MMAratings.net to rate the fights. Let us know how excited you are about upcoming MMA battles. But again, my name is Rafael Garcia. I thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about Survivor Series. It's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking about it now, and this show didn't set up anything to make me want to watch tomorrow night. I actually was thinking about something a while back that maybe someone else wrote it and I read it, but there was an idea of doing away with Survivor Series as a whole. I think they should. The brand supremacy stuff just doesn't do it. These matches have no stakes. They should. For example, let's say with NXT now that they have 4 wins, they should sit there and say they should be able to say, hey, we want to take one of the top names from one of the other stores, other shows, and bring them over to NXT. Or we get the first draft pick in the upcoming draft, or whatever it may be. That there should be some value in these wins, and there aren't really right now, and that's what really kind of makes this event less enjoyable per se, because brand supremacy isn't really a thing. You are all getting your check signed by the same person. So I definitely think that it is a missed opportunity there to come up with something original. And by original, that doesn't necessarily mean, another Hell in a Cell, the Elimination Chamber, et cetera, et cetera. They should come back with something. I would like to see just a different style of tentpole match here, but it's a little difficult because of the time of the year. But either way, I think that we're at a point in time where we don't need Survivor Series anymore. That's actually a good idea for a piece that I may write this week if I can find something to write with. But either way, do we still need a Survivor Series? I don't think so. But still, I think this event as a whole did enough to keep people excited, keep people entertained from start to finish. Go back and watch NXT TakeOver as well. I know I said that a couple times, but there's a lot more to digest there. So with that in mind, my name is Rafael Garcia. I've said it a couple times tonight, so I apologize for saying it again, but you can catch me at rgarcia underscore sports and follow Black Jordan Green, MTF 3 for Michael Ford and Adam Martin as well, as we continue to create the best content that we possibly can for you guys. Enjoy your holiday. Be safe. If you're traveling, take care of yourself, everyone, and don't get too fat. You can hit the gym during Thanksgiving holiday. Most places, most gyms are open for on an abridged schedule, so do that as well too. But either way, with that in mind, thank you for listening to the show, everyone, and thank you and have a great day.